Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Lloyd Roberts on the line, and he's co-founder and chief revenue officer over at LoanPro. Lloyd, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Well, glad to have you on the show today, Lloyd, and really excited to learn more about LoanPro and how you're helping, forward-thinking lenders really serve their clients, and we'll get more into what that means and obviously the mechanics of LoanPro in a moment. But
Perfect.
Before we do that, we'll start with our Mission Matters Minute. So Lloyd, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. So that's our mission here. Lloyd, what mission matters to you?
Yeah, our goal over here at LoanPro is to help democratize lending. So we want to help lenders be able to get into, existing lenders be able to streamline their overall processes, and then also allow other companies to be able to utilize lending to scale their own business.
Awesome. Love working with mission-based entrepreneurs and executives and helping them get their message out there. So thank you for sharing that. And just to go further into the topic, so tell us a little bit more about what that term of democratizing means in this scenario, because I know when I was looking into LoanPro, and I'm looking at it like, okay, as a a B2B solution, and you're helping the lender side, I'm like, oh, that's a little bit unique. I hear a lot from the media side of things about helping directly to the lenders, but who helps, or helping, the direct consumer, but who helps the lender help the consumer? That's where LoanPro comes in. So tell us a little bit more about that democratizing concept, please.
Yeah, happy to. So it's probably helpful to start with LoanPro's origin story, right? So I'll just take a minute and kind of go through that. We started off as lenders ourselves, and we were scaling our lending business, and there wasn't any loan servicing software on the market that we found to be user-friendly, that was also compliant, that was web-based, some of the basic things that we were looking for. There just wasn't an offering on the market. So we did the build versus buy analysis, and we decided that building was going to meet our needs better. So we started the building, and when we were 10 times the expense that we had originally thought that we would spend on software, we were like, oh man, what do we do now, right? And we had some other local lenders that were doing a similar type of lending that came to us and said, hey, it sounds like you guys are doing pretty good. What are you doing? How are you pulling this off? And we let them know that we had built internal software. Well, they didn't want to build internal software, and so they asked if they could use ours. And at first we said, no, this is kind of our secret sauce. We're going to kind of keep this to ourselves. After it happened time and time again, we finally decided, well, hey, maybe there's a way for us to recoup some of the building dollars that we spent on this internal software, and we turned it into a SaaS offering. And, let's fast forward 10 plus years after that. We now have just over 700 lenders throughout the U.S. and Canada that are on the platform. And we learned in that process, right? Our first version of software, we had done a bunch of things right, and we had done a bunch of things wrong too. So our newest version of that software is called LoanPro. And it's really targeted for more medium and large lenders that are looking to scale their operations. It's the servicing core or the lending core of their business, right? So they don't need to have a CRM and then bolt-on servicing, or they don't need to have a banking core and then bolt-on servicing like it traditionally works. So we wanted to democratize lending, meaning make it easier for any organization to get into lending. It could be a traditional lender, it could be a bank adding a new lending product, but usually not. It's usually a company that has a user base, that they want to monetize this user base, make their company stickier, and lean into something that can improve the way that they're doing business. And a lot of companies are leaning into lending for that. But how do you get into lending, right? What tech do you use? So our goal has been to help them get into lending and use the most modern tech on the market, but not be handcuffed in all the traditional ways that lenders are used to being handcuffed. For example, traditionally lenders will say, hey, we want to have a special mousetrap, a special way to be able to originate notes. And so maybe they'll use an origination platform or maybe they'll build something in-house, special way to acquire these notes, a special partnership or something like that. But after the loans are originated, things get pretty uniform. And most lenders, they're not really thinking about, well, great, how am I going to get my money back? They're thinking, how am I going to get my money lent out and get the dollars out on the street? Well, we focus on how to help lenders get their money back. So a lot of lenders, when they're new into the space, they will look at outsourcing their servicing and just have a third-party company do all of the servicing and all of the collections. And it can be a great idea. Other lenders will take it in-house, and they'll service those notes in-house. But traditionally, let's rewind 10, 15 years ago, when you outsource lending, you pretty much say, hey, servicing company, I have originated this note. Here you go. I'm going to push you the information from a CSV file or something like that, and then go ahead and input that information into your software and service this note for me, and tell me weekly or monthly, how is it going, right? And that can work out okay, but let's imagine that in 1, 2, 5 years from now, what if the lender's not pleased with the relationship with the servicer anymore? Or maybe it's the economics, maybe it's the collection ratio, maybe it's the servicing, maybe it's just a difference in opinion on how to approach something. Well, what does the lender do? They're really kind of handcuffed, right? They would have to go to the servicer and say, hey, servicer, I want to move somewhere else. I'm going to move away from ABC servicer, and I'm going to go to XYZ servicer. And by the way, I'm going to decrease the amount of money I pay you, if not fully eliminating it, but I need your help in exporting all the data in a user-friendly format so that I can upload it into the other servicer's software, right? It becomes very difficult. It's a sticky process. So what we've done, and one of the ways that we've democratized lending and made it easier for lenders to pivot when they need to, they have a direct relationship with LoanPro. They own that tech relationship because we are the servicing core. And then they tell the servicer, if that's in-house, if it's outsourced, whoever the servicers are, they say, log into my tech and perform the collections and the servicing inside of my LoanPro account. Now, if they decide to pivot in the future, maybe that's as simple as, hey, we've decided we're going to take Tier 2 servicing in-house. So you guys please provide Tier 1, and if an account gets escalated, then we want it to then flow to our in-house team. Or maybe it's a full pivot like I brought up earlier. Now they simply stand up a new relationship, connect with the first servicer, and say, hey, thank you for your time. We're going to go ahead and turn off your access to our LoanPro subscription and turn it on somewhere else. So our goal is to help put the control back into the lender's hand. That's one example of how we do that.
Yeah, and so correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but what you're doing is you're really creating a flexible win-win relationship to where you're serving as a real partner in the whole scenario. Am I off on that?
You're not. That's really the goal. I mean, our objective is it's more than just a software offering to us.
Yeah,
for us, we want
like that. Like sometimes you just plug and play, and it's like, okay, there you go. But you're offering different options, like here, and different ways to work.
Yes. You got it. And LoanPro, we do it a couple ways, right? First, we are a fully API-based platform. So lenders can connect with us however they want. In fact, even our UI, our user interface, it is the largest consumer of our API. So if you log into the UI and want to create a new note manually or upload a document or post a payment, all of those functions, we even expose the console so that the lender can see what the exact API calls are that we're doing. And then however we expand over time or however the lenders expand over time, they know that all of the data points inside of the loan, the account, the lease, or inside the customer, if their borrower is a business or an individual, all of those data points are accessible via the API.
And so it sounds to me like also as well that you'll have, obviously there's multiple different types of lenders you can work with. So you mentioned, existing lenders that are looking to upgrade or to use some of the other features. But you also mentioned another segment, which is those that are trying to make maybe their current user base a little bit more sticky. Can you give me an example of what that looks like? Because I'm trying to wrap my head around it.
Yeah, so let's assume that a company has, let's just say 1 million users, and whatever their product might be, right? And if they're wanting to make their product stickier or monetize their product or both, then that user base, lending is a strong way to be able to pull that off. So let's say that a company, they're like, hey, we have this user base. We want to have them live in our ecosystem longer. We want to retain them logging in and engaging with our products or services. Maybe they sell things, maybe it's a membership model, whatever might occur. By adding lending, and especially if they're going to add lending at favorable rates, buy now, pay later is becoming quite popular, and we're helping a lot of lenders stand that up. Those are clever offerings because they truly, in almost all scenarios when lenders refer to buy now, pay later, it's zero fees and zero interest. And so it just allows the consumer to be able to purchase something and take it home now, so to speak, versus waiting until they have all the funds available or processing those funds on a credit card or something like that and then making installment payments. So as companies that don't traditionally view themselves as lenders, one of the ways that they are increasing the stickiness of their offering as well as increasing their overall revenue is by adding some type of lending. So maybe they're doing solar panels and they want to add financing. Maybe it's something very small, a small ticket item, and they're selling a $80 widget. Well, a lot of these companies, to increase the amount of sales that they have, they're adding a lending component to that so they can sell more product and potentially have interest income as well.
Wow, that just opens up an entire new revenue stream for somebody that's maybe don't consider themselves in the lending business, but they have the right user base that justifies it. That's interesting. And so you also, so you said it's set for like enterprise level and also mid-size companies. Tell us a little bit more about that, because I know there's people listening right now, a lot of business owners and executives listen to this show, and I know some of them are thinking is this something right? Is this something that our company should be thinking about or exploring if they're not already in the lending business? So give us a little bit more on that, who's the ideal fit that typically gets the most value out of working with your team?
Yeah, so we have I said earlier, we have about 700 lenders throughout the United States and Canada that use us as their servicing core. And it could be small and medium-sized lenders. Maybe they have, 1,000 loans or 10,000 loans, something in that window. Or it could be some of the larger lenders, right? We work with Brex and Fundbox and Best Egg and Above Lending, Medallion Bank, Cordova, Snap, a bunch of different lending and leasing companies that use us for their core. So, but about 88% of our lender base is what we consider to be small and medium-sized lending companies. The other 12% are enterprise lenders. These are, the bigger companies out there with not an exact cutoff, but $1 billion plus lent out inside of the platform. So if you're a large lender or if you're a new lender that has medium to large ambitions, LoanPro can be a scalable solution to get launched on. Then as you add more products, as you grow your lending company, you don't need to worry about needing to pivot to a different platform.
Awesome. Well, I'll tell you, this has been great having you on the show today, Lloyd, and really just learning more about what you're doing and success over at LoanPro and how you're democratizing really lending in general. And obviously the offshoot of this is giving the marketplace overall, the consumers, more options, more value. So, it's just a bunch of win-win scenarios you're creating over at LoanPro. So that being said, if somebody is listening to this and they want to learn more about LoanPro and to connect with you and your team, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, well, thanks for your time today, Adam. The best way to connect with LoanPro is just go to our website. It's loanpro.io. We can get you a free trial of the software, connect you with some of our representatives over here. They'll learn more about what your current needs are. Are you a lender? Are you exploring getting into lending? What type of tech are you looking for when it comes to all things lending and servicing? And we can explore if LoanPro might be a fit. If it is, great. We'd be happy to explore it more. If not, then we'll be here to make that abundantly clear up front.
Perfect. Well, Lloyd, again, appreciate you coming on the show. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If this is your first time with us, Mission Matters is all about interviewing business owners, entrepreneurs, and experts and really having them share their mission and why they do what they do and what they're offering to the marketplace. And hopefully we can all learn from that. And so if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, definitely hit that subscribe button because we have many more mission-based leaders leaders coming on for you, and we don't want you to miss a thing. And Lloyd, again, really appreciate you coming on the show. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, thank you so much, Adam. Appreciate your time.